Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very, very happy indeed. You see, I woke up this morning, and it turns out that overnight, about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning UK time, while I was sleeping, they went and dropped a new Digimon. Now, I like Digimon, because Digimon evolves into Pulsemon, and I'm a bit of a Pulsemon fanboy. I made sure to get the pre-release stamped Digimon from BT6 and the box topper, so I had all 3 versions of that card, and did the same for Pulsemon and all of that, and life is good. So I see a new Digimon, and I go, does that mean there's going to be a new Pulsemon? Almost certainly. And then I go, hang on a second, Digimon is green, we've only seen yellow Pulsemon so far, does that mean we are getting a green Pulsemon? And I didn't have to wait very long for the answer at all, ladies and gentlemen, because just a few hours later at 9:30 UK time, they went and dropped a new Pulsemon. There is a new Pulsemon, it is confirmed, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I shouldn't care as much about this, but I really do. I went straight to the rarity here for Pulsemon, and it turns out the Pulsemon is a common card, just like the Pulsemon from BT7. Why does that matter? Because it means there's not going to be any pre-release stamped Pulsemon. There was in BT6, but there won't be in BT7 and BT8. Also, shout out to Digimon for giving us Pulsemon 3 sets in a row. That is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. That is awesome. For those that missed that reference, in Digimon, the pre-releases, you can get, when you enter a pre-release, you get 2 random pre-release stamped cards, but they are uncommons or rares. So if a card comes through as a common, like Pulsemon in the last 2 sets, that unfortunately means you will not be getting a pre-release stamped promo of it, and that makes me legitimately sad, but there's not really very much I can do about it, so I just have to sit here being a little bit sad. But I'm not that sad, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a new Pulsemon coming, and I, for one, am absolutely delighted. The question, of course, then becomes, what does a new Digimon and Pulsemon do? And are they actually any good? Well, our translations here come from the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming. We like the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming. They're our favourites. And Digimon here has got an inheritable skill. When all of your Digimon are rested, this Digimon gains 1,000 power. And this is on your opponent's turn, which means all of your Digimon have to be rested, including this one. And this is where I reach a little bit of a dilemma. Because what I really want to do is play up how great this card is and how much I love it and how I've been a green player for ages and now there's going to be a green Pulsemon and I'm so happy. And actually, nah. My problem with this is you're only getting an extra 1,000 power and you're basically forcing yourself into an inopportune board state. And that's what makes me worried here. Because if all of my Digimon are rested or suspended, then that means that all of my Digimon can be attacked. We have the rule in the Digimon TCG whereby you can only attack suspended Digimon. So one way to protect your Digimon from being attacked and therefore deleted is to make sure that your Digimon is unsuspended, therefore it is safe. The problem we have here is that if all of your Digimon are suspended, they are all liable to be attacked and taken down, and that's clearly not a good thing. And sure, you gain 1,000 power, yay, and that gives you a bit more survivability, but I don't think this is worth it just for the 1,000 power. But it is worth pointing out that if you want to get extra power on your opponent's turn, this is it. There's plenty of ways to get extra power on your turn. Fremon from BT1, if your opponent has 2 or more rested Digimon, you get plus 2,000 power. That's pretty good. We've got some attacking ones as well. We've got Budmon. While this Digimon has Digiburst, you get 1,000 extra power. We've got Motomon from the starter deck. While you're level 6 or higher, you get plus 1,000 power. We've got the Minimon from the starter deck. While you have a blue Digimon in play, you get 1,000 power. We've got plenty of ways to get extra power on your turn. And like I said, there's a couple others when you're attacking as well. But the fact of the matter is, if you want extra power on your opponent's turn, even if it's not an ideal way to go about it, this is it. And that literally is it. This is your option. If you want extra power on your opponent's turn, it is this or nothing. I just honestly don't think it's worth it. I think the fact that you've got to have all of your Digimon suspended, and that means that all of your Digimon are then potentially at risk of getting attacked and deleted, it's not worth it just to get an extra 1,000 power on one of your Digimon. Now, I might be wrong. There might be certain Digimon here that have got so much power, or, where the numbers are so specific that an extra 1,000 power makes a big difference. But honestly, I remain very underwhelmed by this Bibimon. I frankly just don't really get it. It just doesn't seem that good. However, and I've said this a million times before, we saw this with Capture Mamamon the other day that didn't really make any sense until we saw Bancho Mamamon, and then it made all that sense. There might be something we're missing here. There might be a skill that revolves around having all of your Digimon suspended. There might be a whole bunch of skills that do that, and this looks better. As it stands at the moment, when you've got your whole board rested, you get a bit of extra power. There will be some decks that like it, but a lot of the time, you're going to be putting yourself in a worse position, and honestly, you can just get that bonus somewhere else. But we've also got a new Pulsemon, and I am delighted. Free cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2,000 power, all fairly standard for a level 3. And we've got an inheritable skill here that reads, on both players' turns, for each of your other rested Digimon, this Digimon gains 1,000 power. And alright. I know I'm kind of in love with Pulsemon, but check out how amazing this artwork is. This is a beautiful picture. Anyway, so this card, this one, I really like this one. Because this one can build up very, very quickly indeed. Because essentially, as you go through your turn, resting more and more of your Digimon, this gets more and more powerful. And that's brilliant. And this just kind of keeps going. It doesn't stop going until you run out. Now, it's weird because it is the opposite of the Kabuterimon here, which on your turn gives your Digimon an extra 1,000 power for every suspended Digimon your opponent has. And as a side note, the Gargamon in BT3 has the exact same skill. On your turn, this card gets plus 1,000 power for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon. So, it's the opposite of them, and I'll be honest with you, I've played them in a bunch of decks. Because when my opponent's got a whole bunch of suspended Digimon, or when I've got a bunch of skills that will allow me to suspend my opponent's Digimon, you can actually build up to a surprising amount of power really rather quickly. And it is important to note that this Pulsemon gains the power on both players' turns. That means that if you suspend a bunch of your Digimon, you will get extra power with which to attack this turn, but then you will get extra power with which to survive attacks on your opponent's turn. And then if they're all suspended, Bibimon comes in and gives you an extra 1,000. But again, I still don't particularly like the Bibimon, because I look at it and I'm like, well, you know what? Pulsemon seems to be doing all right on his own, mate. Pulsemon, if I've got 5 Digimon out and 4 of them are suspended, Bibimon doesn't activate yet, and Pulsemon's already got 4,000 extra power, so... And sure, suspending that final one will give me an extra 2, but still... I like this. Obviously, it's not Pulsemon, it's a Digimon that has Digivolved from Pulsemon, but you know what I mean. I really like this. I like that it's in your control because it's your suspended Digimon. I still have some reservations, and the reservation is the same as I said before, and that is that you essentially gain an advantage by suspending your Digimon, but your opponent also gains an advantage when you suspend your Digimon. Every one of your suspended Digimon is a potential target for your opponent, but you can build yourself up to get key KOs, and you can build yourself up to get survivability, and what you can do with Pulsemon that you cannot do with Bibimon here is really go through the numbers. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. It's all about making sure you're doing just enough damage to get a deletion, while having just enough power to survive a deletion. And whereas Bibimon gives you that random 1,000 power which might not be good enough, Pulsemon can get you an extra 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depends how many Digimon you can get out and suspended. And at that point, that's pretty cool. It is also worth bearing in mind, remember that Digisorption is a skill that we see on green Digimon, and that is a way that you can essentially suspend your own Digimon to lower the cost of digivolving up your other Digimon. Although you've also got Ceresmon that lets you suspend your opponents, which I've always enjoyed. And my point is that then you've actually got a nice thing whereby you're suspending your Digimon to reduce the cost, which is good. And then you're also getting extra power on some of your Digimon because you've suspended some of them, which is also pretty gosh darn good. I really like Pulsemon. And I know I'm biased, and I'm not going to argue against that. I'm definitely biased. I am primed to overrate Postmon, but I really like the extra power boost you can give here, and I like that it's like Digimon we've seen before, but it's in your control, not your opponent's. I like this, and I'm definitely going to be playing around with it, but I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.